have a sad and solemn tale of truth to relate. You recollect the first day of January 1840. It was a bitter, cold day. It was cold as far south as the city of New York, and up here in the country where I'm writing, it was terribly severe. You could not ride far against the wind without being exposed to freezing. I have heard of 2 cases of death by cold on that day in this region, and of another case in which the sufferer was saved by great exertion when at the point of perishing. The night of that day was to be observed, as is usual here, by a New Year's ball. Invitations had been extended around, and a great gathering of the young and gay and thoughtless was expected. Extensive preparations had been made for an evening of merriment and glee, and merry hearts beat quickly in anticipation of the pleasures of the scene. None was happier in the thought of coming joy than a certain miss, who took her seat in the sleigh by the side of her partner for the evening, and set out for a ride of some 20 miles to join the dance. She was young and gay, and her charms of youth and beauty never were lovelier than when dressed for that New Year's ball. Of course, too thinly clad for the season, and especially for that dreadful day, she had not gone far before she complained of being cold. Very cold. But their anxiety to reach the end of the ride in time to be present at the opening of the dance induced them to hurry onwards without stopping by the way. Not long after this complaining, she said that she felt perfectly comfortable and was now quite warm, and that there was not necessity of delay on her account. They reached at length the house where the company were gathering. The young man leaped from the sleigh and extended his hand to assist her out, but she did not offer hers. He spoke to her, but she answered not. She was dead. Stone dead, frozen stiff, a corpse on the way to a ball. But the most shocking part of the tale is yet to be told. The ball went on. The dance was as merry and music as sweet as if one of the invited guests had not been called into eternity. I remember reading of a ball in New Hampshire a few years since, at which 4 young men retired to play cards, and while at their game, one of the number fell in a fit and expired. The rest rolled his body under the table and covered it up with cloaks and said nothing about it until the ball was over. In a village in which I lived for many years, there was a ball but a few steps from my house, and one of the young ladies who was there died suddenly on the very day of the ball. It was proposed by one of the managers to postpone the dance, but the others would not consent, and on it went, although the corpse lay in a house directly in front of the ballroom, and the dim light could be seen by every dancer. And the sound of the music and dancing disturbed the melancholy watchers. I have no comments to make. That's a heavy story, isn't it? It went on to inspire a poem and some ballads known as Fair Charlotte or Frozen Charlotte. And they focus on the aspect of that story that's a warning against vanity. But as I read it, there's something else that stands out to me, namely the disregard for human life. And that's very relevant today.
Firefighters lost about a half hour because people grabbed their phones but didn't dial 911. Instead, they took pictures and videos.
A group of Florida teens taunt a drowning man while filming his final moments from a farm.
But many who've seen this video are just shocked, not just by the kidnapping, but by the apparent inaction by bystanders.
The bystander effect, as it's called, wasn't officially studied until 1964. But could this be a 19th century observation of the same phenomenon? Let me know what you think. Well, we've come to the end of another year. It's been a great year. I've built a studio, as you can see here behind me, and I've managed to put out some videos, and I think they may be my best yet. I've also designed some t-shirts, which has been fun. And I'm starting a free email newsletter. It's called American Mythology Insider. I'm going to be sending out periodic updates about videos that I'm working on, books that I'm reading, and just fun behind the scenes things that I feel like sharing. If that's something that you're interested in, I'll put a link in the description. Thank you all for being here, and Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2022 with a set of new videos that I'm working on that I'm really excited about. All right, bye everyone.